Bradford Anderson, what is going on, my brother?
Well, we have a friend of ours here who I was just thinking about this. You know, over the holidays, how most actors have to like be, people like, oh, so what's going on? He probably had a great holiday season talking about all the stuff that he's doing.
He's everywhere. I don't know what's going on.
We got Sean Kanan with us. Hey, bud.
Sean, yes.
Hey, guys. It's so good to see you. Both of you.
He is a friend, but he's more like family to me. Sean, what is going on? How's life? I see that you're so you got so much going on, man. I'm so excited for you.
I'm blessed. I have a lot going on, not the least of which I'm living in a jungle of boxes right now. Michelle and I just got a new place, and I've managed to clear out this little area so we could do our interview. Yeah, things are really exciting, Steve. They really are. Lots of stuff going on.
So let's just start with B&B, because I see that you're on there now again. Is it how long you've been back regularly?
So I've been back for I just signed a new 2-year contract with them. So
beautiful. Good job, brother.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
So I've been back for like a year plus, and just signed a new contract, which I'm very excited about. You know, B&B's always kind of been like home to me. I started in 2000, and it's just been a fantastic working relationship over there. So I'm real busy with that. And we're in the process right now of signing a deal that's going to take Studio City to multiple platforms through a big distributor, and finally got that contract done. And once we finalize that, it's going to be available for everybody to see. Just got the ISA nominations, the Indie Series Awards. We got 13 nominations, which is really exciting. So we're going to be, we're going to be going back into production on Studio City.
You are?
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna get you guys on.
Hey. Come on, let's go. That'd be fun.
You know what's crazy is almost every single person who's come on Studio City to guest star has gotten an Emmy nomination. It's like
we're ready.
Well, if you're looking,
ready to do it.
If you want to take the pressure off people, we'll be happy to break the streak for you.
I love it.
So, that's amazing.
No, off. Thank you.
There we go.
The wife's becoming the lighting director.
Clap on.
That's amazing. So what season is that in now?
So
for
this
Studio
will
City.
Our third season coming up.
Cool.
And I'm extra excited because my stepdaughter Juliet, who plays my daughter on the show, got nominated for an Indie Series Award for Best Supporting Actress, and she's a new actress, and it's really
cool, man.
Exciting for her.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff going on. I got the new book out.
So hold on. So Way of the Cobra was the first one, right?
Way of the Cobra is my third book, but it's the first
book. Yeah.
And then Welcome to the Kumite is my fourth book, which is the sequel to Way of the Cobra. Now,
you did text me if I read your Way of the Cobra, and I did peruse through this book. And I loved it because, obviously mindset is everything, right?
Sure.
And that's primarily what the book is about, is just really getting control of your mind and not believing the story that you've told yourself for so long and all these things, how to define yourself. Michelle had a quote in there about life isn't about finding yourself, it's about defining yourself. Right. And I like, because what I'm doing now with the mindset in my program is life isn't about finding yourself. I take it a little step further into creating yourself, creating who you want to be, right? With your habits daily. So what's the difference between
the two books?
What was the step? What was the next level of Way of the Cobra?
So Welcome to the Kumite. A lot of people aren't familiar with what the word Kumite means. Kumite is a traditional form of training in Japanese karate, which prepares you for combat. But we all know
blood sport.
So Kumite refers to an epic battle. So the idea behind Welcome to the Kumite is that it's preparing you to conquer your greatest opponent. Of course, your greatest opponent is yourself, right? How do you do that? Well, you do that by experiencing a metaphoric death every day so that you can be reborn the next day as a better version of yourself. Well, how do you do that? Well, you do it through constant and never-ending improvement. And so I talk a lot about this philosophy of Kaizen. And Kaizen is a philosophy that was developed in Japan, but actually made famous by General Douglas MacArthur.
Yes.
And It was to get the Japanese industry to rise from the ashes after World War II. And the philosophy is that slow and incremental and consistent improvement over the long term has greater positive effect than kind of the grip it and rip it strategy. Sure. And there's definitely a time for the grip it and rip it strategy sometimes in life, but if you can just improve incrementally every single day, maybe not in every area, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your fitness, whether it's business, over the long haul, you're going to conquer who you were yesterday and be a better version of yourself. And I give you a lot of strategies how to do that. And
sure. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So, a lot of the book is philosophical, and a lot of the book is nuts and bolts, battle tested strategy, how to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So what makes me smile is hearing the stories from you guys from years past. Could you ever imagine
that we'd be talking about this right now?
Well, or that you two not only just talking about it, but like
that we're not in jail,
being somewhat of or like creating yourself as kind of an authority on some of these topics, and like that's mind-boggling to me. Sitting in Singapore, being like, guess what? In 30 years, you guys are going to be at the trying to lead the self-help, the self-betterment movement.
Well, it takes a lot of pain to get here, Bradford.
It does.
And it takes a lot of failures, and it takes a lot of mistakes, and it takes a lot of things to realize that we need to reflect and grow.
Before you think I'm levitating on top of a mountain in Kathmandu contemplating my navel, I've made every mistake in my own books a dozen times. And so I say in the beginning of Way of the Cobra, I say, look, I get good news and I get bad news. And if you're like me and Don Corleone, you like to get the bad news first. So here it is. I don't have the answer. I don't have a silver bullet that's going to transform you into this beast that you want to become overnight. But here's the good news. Everything you need to do it already lives within you. It's like the Zen riddle. How did the ship get in the bottle? It was already there. You've got the knowledge to do this. I just need to help you rediscover it. And then in the second book, and Welcome to the Kumite, I say, look, a lot of what you're going to hear might sound new to you, but it's not. It's all information that's hardwired into your DNA. You may not have discovered it yet. You may have forgotten it. And a lot of what I do is kind of just repackaging stuff that you maybe already know. But for example, when you're 15 and your dad's trying to give you some really good advice, but you're at that age where you just can't hear it. Sometimes it's the messenger, not the message that allows you to
100%. Yes. I have a 16-year-old, so I know what you're talking about. So yes, 100%.
Yeah. Well, so what precipitated the move? Is that that sounds kind of exciting?
What precipitated the move? Well, Michelle and I were living at our place in Palm Springs, and then I got back on Bold the Beautiful, and we needed to get a place here, so we got a place that was very nice, but it wasn't big enough. And Michelle and I each need our own office.
Yeah, you guys are beasts.
She does her thing, I do my thing, and we just decided that for the sanctity of our marriage, we needed to have our neutral corners when working during the day. A place that accommodates all of that.
Oh,
that's
fantastic.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about. Okay, where can we get the book? Is it on Amazon? Where I got it?
You can get Way of the Cobra on Amazon, Kindle. And if you'd like to get a signed copy, you can get it at wayofthecobra.com. And Welcome to the Kumite is only available at wayofthecobra.com.
Oh, cool. All right. Awesome.
So season 5 of Cobra Kai came out in the fall.
Yeah.
But I'd like to, because I think the last time we talked, you didn't know if and when you'd be involved with it. So, and I know you probably answered this question on in other media forms, but like for our benefit, let us know how it happened.
Well, look, obviously, the producers knew that I wanted to be a part of it. And when season 4 was happening, I got a message from Josh Held, who's one of the creators. And he said, we're not going to see Mike Barnes in season 4. And I was disappointed. And I was like, TikTok, we're coming into season 5.
Right. I mean, you don't know how long it's going to go, right?
Getting late in the 4th quarter here.
Yeah.
And I got a message from him in June it would have been, I guess, last year. Yeah. And he said, look, Barnes is coming in season 5. And maybe it was the year before. And we had a Zoom meeting, myself, John Hurwitz, Josh, Hayden Schlossberg couldn't make it. And we talked about it. They told me what they had in mind. And I flew down to Atlanta twice to film, and it was remarkable. It really was. I mean, to reconnect with Ralph after and to get another bite at the apple playing a character I played,
Yeah, you did great job, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It really was great to be able to go down as a, much more seasoned actor now and have the chance to play this character, not as the sort of unidimensional thug that he was in the first one, but as a more nuanced and layered character. So it was great. It was so much fun. And I guess I kind of lucked out because, when the show first started, it was on YouTube, and it was a big success. But then when it moved to Netflix, it became, phenomenon. And I got in when at the best possible.
Yeah. So it's funny because I watched the show, and Mike Barnes goes from breaking boards to now making furniture. That's what he owns a furniture store. But dude, I thought you were 2 episodes. I thought the arc was great, right? Like it was really cool, and it was so funny because I was watching the show where Johnny was getting beat up at the house at Silver's house, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Where's Mike Barnes? Where's Mike Barnes? Where's Mike Barnes?" So it was awesome, dude. I love it. And because listen, Karate Kid was such a big part of my life and our lives growing up, and a whole generation. So what has that kind of done? Because I know you would do some cons and stuff before, but has that because they have a bit of a cult following too, right? Karate Kid.
Oh my God, of course.
Yeah. So has that kind of, because I've been doing cons recently, as you know, because we just talked about that, but has that opened new things? What's opened up since?
I always joke that if I have one talent, it seems to be grabbing on the coattails of very successful projects, much bigger than me. And the first one obviously was the Karate Kid franchise, and then General Hospital, and then Bold and the Beautiful. And Karate Kid. The Karate Kid franchise has always had a very loyal following, but with Cobra Kai, you've got this really interesting phenomenon. You've got this whole new generation that may not have even been aware of the original source material that fell in love with Cobra Kai and then went back subsequently and watched the Karate Kid films. And what the guys who created the show have done so brilliantly, and it's very difficult to do, is they've straddled the fence between 2 age demographics. Because it's, guys our age laugh at different things than, your son does, right?
Yeah,
but,
totally.
But they've created a show where, I think maybe parents and kids who are going through that period where it's difficult to communicate can come together and watch this show. And, mom and dad have the nostalgic frame of reference because they watched 100%. It as kids. The kids watch it because they like the younger generation of kids, and it brings them together to watch something. And I really like that aspect of it. And so, it's kind of opened me up to a whole new fan base and re-solidified me with the existing one.
That's awesome, dude. So exciting, bro.
I just got back from Dubai, where I went over to go do a con over there. They were big fans of the Karate Kid universe and had an amazing trip to the United Arab Emirates. So it's all blessings and wonderful stuff.
Are you having to high kick a lot while you're there, or spinning back fists, or what do you do?
It's so funny. I do get asked every now and then to do that.
I know you do. I've seen it.
Thank God. Depending on the pants I wear, thank God I can still do it.
Do you have to think about that when you get dressed every day? Like, hey, if I get asked to do this, can I do this? Are you wearing more jeggings these days than actual jeans?
Yeah, he just wears yoga pants everywhere now.
There you go.
Huh?
I said you just wear yoga pants everywhere just in case you got to kick something.
Yes.
Well, what about like bringing back like Z Cavaricci's, those cotton pants?
Yeah, buddy, we could do that. They had some flex in those. They were loose.
Elastic bands.
I was a big fan of what was it? Mary
Gerbeau.
Yeah.
Chess King, of course, Chess King, Sean. Come on.
That was the store at the mall, was it not?
Yeah, Chess King was amazing.
Yeah,
you guys, when I was 16, I thought I was Sonny Crockett, and so like I would rock like a white suit with a teal shirt, driving with my parents' brown Caprice. So
and I know you had loafers on too.
Of course.
Well, dude, I just saw a picture of you up at Sundance, and you're wearing all white. You must have been thrilled to put that on, dude.
It's Alpine white, Bradford. It's
Alpine white. And I was like, wow. I guess that's the only time after Labor Day works, when you're in the snow and you can do Alpine white.
Bradford, be careful. Sean knows his fashion. Be careful.
I know.
Be careful. You might get a run for your money.
What was the first book you wrote? Forgive me, the Gentleman book.
The Modern Gentleman, yeah.
Modern Gentleman, right? And that encompassed that food, fashion, etiquette, all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's a hybrid book. It's a cookbook, but it's also a book for guys to be better guys and women to understand how guys think. Just really quickly, and I think that a lot of guys, especially our age, who were taught to pull out a chair for a woman, to open a door, got out in the real world, and they suddenly were being told, don't do that for me. I don't need that. And it kind of messed with them. And they were like, well, am I supposed to be sort of the sensitive guy who's, self-aware and in touch with my feelings? Or am I supposed to be kind of the alpha male and the, sort of a lot of the iconic prototypes, like sort of John Wayne and Steve McQueen and things that, maybe we grew up with? And the reality is it's both. It's the best of both. So it shows guys how to be a gentleman without being a doormat. And, I talk a lot about, there's chapters like the modern gentleman studies a language, because for me, studying foreign languages has been something that's been incredibly important in my life, and the benefits. The modern gentleman defends himself. And I talk about how martial arts has been very important in my life. And I say, look, if you ever do have to use it, maybe you can bring the guy my mashed potato recipe, because it's very easy to chill. And so, it's a fun book. It'll teach you how to cook. It'll teach you how to hopefully be the very best guy that you can be. And it gives women some insight into, I think, how a lot of men were not only raised, but think.
So
yeah, and I think that's important. And actually, I'm going to touch on that a little bit, just because of what you mentioned in Way of the Cobra about emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Right. The EQ. We always talk about IQ. We talk about intelligence, but we never really talk about, and especially our generation and generations before us are just void of emotional intelligence at all, because it was, hey, hide your feelings. Don't feel. Right. Don't show weakness. Don't cry. Don't do this, right? As a man, and we're human beings, and we have to have emotions. And obviously, the more in touch we are with our emotions, the better off we're going to be, and the more we're going to be able to identify why and be able to grow from there. Absolutely. So I think it is, Sean, like the hybrid you're talking about is having the best of both worlds, you know. So I just thought that was a great thing.
I think our parents' generation, Steve, like our dads, had,
it's my dad's birth. My dad has passed, as you guys know, but it's my dad's birthday today.
Oh, God bless him. Well, Jack,
thank you, buddy. Sean saw some good times with good old Jack Burton too.
Oh yeah. No, but I think that the male paradigm was really well defined as men were coming back from World War II. The roles were very clearly defined, and I think there was a lot of room for improvement with what you were talking about, Steve, with self-awareness and emotionality. But they had a clear idea of what it was to be a quote unquote man. And then as time went on, I think there was a period where men got kind of confused. And I think in some respects, society has tried to take some of the best parts of what it means to be a man and somehow make it maybe not so desirable in an attempt to eradicate, the qualities of men that are now defined as toxic masculinity. And that's why I'm talking about it's, you want to take the very best of, what it traditionally means to be a man, but also meld that with the very best of what it means to be a guy that's, in touch with your emotionality, self-aware, authentic, connected, all that stuff. You know, Steve and Bradford, we're all actors. So for us, our stock and trade is emotions. But the majority of men are not actors, and that's not their deal.
Yeah.
And you know, they come from a generation where things like therapy was really looked down on. You know, it's like, if you go to therapy, what the hell's wrong with you? You know, it's like, buck up, buttercup. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of guys didn't necessarily have someone to show them some of the stuff that they needed to be equipped in today's world.
Yeah. And I think, Sean, you touched on the blessing of being an actor, because look, I've had, you know, I came from not a great childhood, and a lot of us, right? We all have our issues. We've all grew up with stuff that we've have to overcome. And acting was a godsend in the sense that I was able to express myself on camera while dealing with emotions off camera that I never would have known how to deal with unless it was drugs or alcohol or doing something stupid with my life. But I was able to have therapy on TV, you know, and then, you know, obviously I went to therapy also because Maurice was like, "Hey dude, you got problems. You need to go to therapy." so I did.
You know, when Maurice tells you that, you got to go.
Yeah. If he's saying go, I'm like, okay, can you drive me right now, please? So, but yeah, man, I just like, you know, in the way of the Cobra, you touch on so many things that are so beneficial. And, I just, you know, I think it's great. So,
you know, I think if I, you know, had to give anybody any advice, because it's the advice that I've given myself, is just, you know, always strive to be the most authentic person you can be, you know. And where does that come from? Well, I really think that at the absolute base of what it takes to have a successful life is to foster your character. Character is everything. Everything else emanates from character. And, you know, you can make mistakes, and you can quote unquote fail. But if you protect your character like the treasure that it is, and if you work hard and you treat people with kindness, not necessarily being nice. Nice is different than kind. Okay. Nice is social mores and being polite. Kind is, you know, when your kid is at a party and not answering the phone, and you've called him 3 times, and then you march into the party and you ask them to leave politely, and they say no, and then you grab them by the back of their neck and you march them out because there's other kids smoking pot or something in there. You're being kind to your child. Might not be nice. And I think it's important to be kind. Nice is nice. Kind is critical.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, you know, in life, you have to be, there's a point in when you're using, self-reflection, to grow, there has to be honesty.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it.
It starts with yourself.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's the only way to grow, is to be honest and to accept things for what they are, and be able to frame that forward, you know, in a positive manner. So,
you know, in the second book, in Welcome to the Kumite, in the introduction, I say in the first book, I told you, you know, what had happened to me, and that I needed to write this book kind of to save myself, but I didn't tell you how I got there. And in the introduction of the second book, I talk about how I was struggling with alcohol, and you know, I needed to write this book as a last best effort to save myself, because, you know, from the outside, my life to probably some people looked like it was fairly successful. But, you know, it looked like, but I said all the glitters was not gold. And when you looked at it more closely, it was really fool's gold, because I was rapidly, you know, descending into mediocrity. And I realized if I didn't do something quickly, I was going to have big problems, because I was just flailing. And I talk about how I had to how I saved myself. And the beginning of Welcome to the Kumite is very, very honest and unvarnished. And the reason I did that was I just believed that, you know, if I'm going to elevate myself to the position of being a teacher or a sensei, I've got to make a connection with my reader. And the best way to get someone that doesn't know you to trust you, short of action over the course of time, is to share something that's honest and vulnerable about yourself, and to expose yourself and say, look, I'm going to put it all on the table here for you.
Yeah.
And I hope that in doing that, you're going to see that I'm not coming from a place of condescending to you, that I've got all the answers. I'm going to show you that I got the answers, or at least some of them, because I've walked through this fire.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing is too, like, everybody's so quick to judge. I'm not saying everybody is a blanket statement, but, you know, we're all guilty of it. And we don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. Right. So you can have this perception that everything is successful, and then things are crumbling behind the closed doors. Look, I've been with you. I've known you for a long time, and I know the struggles that you've had, you know, and I know the struggles that you've overcome. Like, and it's not easy, dude.
No, it's not at all.
It's not easy. I know you're a fighter, man. And that's why you're still doing what you're doing, because you were able to overcome some insurmountable obstacles in your life that most would have just really thrown in the towel and been done.
As have you. You know, you touched on something. What people ask me a lot of times, they say, give me a couple of nuts and bolts things that I have to do to be successful. And I've distilled it down to a couple, but one of them is compassion. And the reason that that's so important is, and we've all heard this before, you never know what private war someone else is fighting. And I always use the analogy, you're waiting in line at the pharmacy, you're late to go do something, and some older lady is like rummaging through her purse. Maybe she's writing a check. And, the thoughts start going through your head that would probably get you arrested. And, you don't know if she's deciding whether she can buy her husband's cancer medication or she's going to eat that night. And so exercising a little extra compassion for our fellow human beings is something that's so important, and will never put you in a bad position. There's never, it's, the Dalai Lama said something. He said something that how important it is to be kind, not only when it's easy, and not only when it's difficult, but also when it's easy. And it's always easy to be kind, he says. And it's true. It really, you never know what someone else is going through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Love is the answer. There we go, Brad. Any other questions, buddy? It's true.
Well, I was thinking about, going from this period of daytime and making your own work. I don't know. I always feel like we kind of work in a little bit of a corner, and you creating your own work is creating your own space, obviously. But then to be back, different media calls you different when you're on a Netflix show and you're getting talked about in a more mainstream.
Right.
But all of you guys have everybody that's a part of that, except for the young cast, has probably been through a period of not being in the mainstream. And obviously they've been doing for like 5 seasons now. So I'm not sure how used to they are being back kind of in the mainstream, but like, I'm curious if that's, for someone like me that's in daytime thinking about that, is that something, or is it nothing? Do you know what I mean? Like, how does that feel? How does that feel?
I think anyone else who heard that question who isn't in the business would have no idea who you're talking about. And I completely understand what you're asking. The first thing you realize, or that I realized when working on this show that's Netflix, is you realize what a big operation it is. Netflix is very involved with it. They're very involved with the marketing, obviously, and everything like that. You get a sense of the grandeur of that. This thing is there you go. And as big a show as General Hospital is, Bold and the Beautiful is much bigger internationally. So I'm already working on a show that is well distributed throughout the world and has a sense of bigness beyond the United States, but it's nothing compared to Cobra Kai. And so, that was interesting. Like you said, it is a such a mainstream thing. And Cobra Kai was the #1 show in the world for a while. And Michelle said something to me, and I please don't think I'm saying this in a way of sounding arrogant, but she said, do you realize right now you're on the #1 show in the world on daytime and the #1 show in the world? And I said, well, then, you know, go get me a God blessed raise.
This has to translate into money somehow.
Right. But no, yeah, Bradford, yeah. I mean, it really, you start to get a feel for, like, the craziest things, like I went to Dubai, and, you know, these are people that, you know, Dubai is a beautiful city in a desert, and of course, they all are maniacs for Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. I mean, it's like every corner of the world knows this show.
Yeah,
and like
crazy.
I said,
So crazy.
This talent to grab onto the coattails, you know what I mean, and just go for the
awesome.
ride. So
I love it, man.
It's exciting.
But
Cool,
I imagine reconnecting with those guys. You know, there's a kinship in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, much in the same way that we have one. You know, I don't see you guys that often, but we're all part of a fraternity / sorority where we've got this common set of experiences that, you know, we understand things that the other goes through without having to really verbalize it extensively. And, you know, the same thing with being a part of the Karate Kid universe. You know, I mean, especially when you're one of the Cobra Kai guys. I mean, there's only about, you know, 10 or 15 of us, maybe less. And it is a bit of a fraternity. You know, getting back down to Atlanta and filming with Ralph, you know, I think we were just about to do the first scene, and we just looked at each other and it's like, can you believe this? I mean, 35 years later, we're playing these roles, and isn't this amazing? And one of the things I love so much about Billy Zabka and Ralph, and they're so they're really down to earth guys, and they're so incredibly pleasantly surprised about the wonderful success that they're having. And they're the same guys they've always been. And it couldn't happen to a nicer group of people. I'm so happy. Yeah.
That's so cool. Cause I was thinking right there when you're like, can you believe we're still here?
Yeah.
Can you believe we're still doing this?
Doesn't it seem like yesterday we were playing Bond on Xbox, and I mean, you know,
I know it's crazy.
You know, we look at how far we've come from where we were, and we're still doing this. And, you know, you have your ups, you have your downs, life happens. And I feel very blessed that, you know, we all still have a friendship, and, you know, we're still in the game. We're still grinding. We're still, you know, and, you know, sometimes you've got better years than others, and you just keep doing it. And I think that's a bit of an example and metaphor for the philosophy of Kaizen that I was talking about. You know, you just keep moving ahead, and over the long haul, over the arc of time, you know, you make progress, you succeed.
Yeah. It's never going to look like this. It's going to look like this.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so awesome, man. Well, dude, you're a beast. We appreciate you talking with us today, man. It's just awesome to connect again.
Like, yes,
and thank you. I love both you guys. You're two of my favorite people, and I'm so happy to see all the success that you're both having. You know, that you've really taken this thing and you're growing it. And I'm so supportive of what you do, and look forward to I'm gonna see you both.
All right, man.
Awesome, brother.
Well, continued success with your stuff as well. And,
yeah, buddy.
All right.
Tell Michelle what's up. She's the beast.
I will. Bradford, take care of yourselves, guys.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.